What it do? What it do? What it do? We a day late. Dollar Show. Normally we here on Tuesdays, but it is Wednesday. We coming at y'all with some new tech file. Better late than never, right? We got some stuff to talk about. So let's get on into the show.
Let's hit him hard. Let's go. That T-E-C-K. Running back like where's my replay? Got it all in the mix, no DJs. Said it's hard in the game like he did. Mr. Lady, spitting real talk for the entertainment. Other podcasts turn the game up and they get smacked back down like a WrestleMania. Tell them that they better get their nose ready at a home city. You know, get it boss, keeping on the low setting. And you know what you say, so we never gotta get tapped on everybody else cause you get ready. Ain't nobody else doing this like I. Better keep them cameras and microphones hot cause this one's a vibe. Gotta run this race with my tribe. Going live with the pie. Do it like there's no tomorrow. Came to my ear later. Shout out to my point guard. We about to hit them hard. Got them throwing in the tap. Tell the red blow the whistle. This is technical file.
Welcome to episode 382 of Technical File, the sports podcast you never knew you needed.
And it's your boy, TIMKINZ, the number 3, a.k.a. Ass Ketchum, a.k.a. Mr. Give It To Me. How y'all doing this week? Missed y'all.
What up? I'm the RJ.
Only known as
The RJ.
And I'm Camille, point guard of the crew, the real life Tifa Lockhart, the girl next door, holding it down for all the women who love sports. Not joining us this week is Kay Harris, the gentleman, Mr. Oh, yeah. Got some family stuff going on. So, hey, throw up some prayers for Ken's family, some good vibes, whatever it is, whatever higher entity you believe in. Talk to him for Ken and his family on our behalf, please. So, sending you love, Ken, Mr. Oh, yeah. My mom called me every. I love when he do that. Ooh yeah. So
That's funny.
Gotta keep it alive for him with him not here this week. But some housekeeping before we get into the swing of things here. If you are not yet following us on our social media platforms, please go ahead and do that at Technical File, TECKNICALFOUL on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Technical File Podcast on Facebook and the YouTube. On the YouTube side of things, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so you know when we go live. Like, right now we got 3 people in here already. We didn't say we was doing the show on Wednesday, but people in here because they are subscribed. They got that bell highlighted so they know when we go live here. So, make sure that y'all do y'all thing when it comes to subscribing to the pod on the YouTube side of things here. Now, the slate for this week, we got some NBA to get into. I got one quick little football thing to throw in there with an old friend, Aaron Rodgers, before we get into some wrestling conversations, since we heard John Cena finally break his silence after the heel turn heard around the world, one could say.
Had enough, my boy.
Man, cinema. We're going to talk about all that. But we're going to start with the NBA, so let's get into it.
Yeah, I have a really simple question for you guys. We're about a month away from the end of the NBA season. There's been a lot of conversation. I feel like we haven't really, participated in it because our guy is solidly third. But 1 month out, who do you have as NBA MVP?
Well, it's a 2-man race. SGA and Nikola Jokic, or Nikola Jokic. He said that we've been saying his first name wrong for years. It's pronounced the exact same way as Vucevic's first name in Chicago. So, Nikola. He said we've been saying it wrong for years, but he's just been like, forget it. But it's between Jokic and SGA, I think. And for me, it's difficult picking between the two because Jokic is doing things that we haven't even, like, he's hitting new highs in his own career here. And he's already been impressive. And then you have SGA, who has just been the picture of consistency throughout this year. And he's no slouch on defense. No pun intended here, Eric, about your point of the defensive player of the year agenda starting with SGA. But I mean, he's special. I'm torn. Tim, do you have a preference between the two?
I think it's gonna be one of those things where SGA, they'll give it to SGA. I mean, it's not like he's not making a case for it. He's smoothly making a case for it. Like, my boy just don't, he's unbothered.
Sorry, wait. It's not. The question isn't who do you think is going to win. The question is who do you have? If you were a voter, who would your vote go to?
It would have to go to Jokic.
Mm.
Like he's, and maybe it's because of the fact that being fans of Giannis and seeing how he got screwed out of some of the MVPs before, because he was still putting up generational numbers. He was still putting up crazy ass, breaking record ass numbers, and not getting it to someone who really wasn't putting up the same type of numbers, but really good numbers nonetheless. I think we've seen it before with hell, I think last year he was going was it him and Luka? Kind of flip-flop right now. Like Luka was going crazy, numbers was out the roof, like through the roof and shit like that. But Jokic putting up hella good numbers. Like they still really good numbers. And Jokic got it last year because he had a better record. So they probably give it to SGA
for the better record. Eric's thinking very hard.
I wanted to.
You're going in and out for me, so I'm not sure I agree with that. That description of last year's MVP race, because it was Jokic, SGA 1-2. And I think it was pretty much the same conversation where the team? The Thunder wound up being the number one seed in the West, which I feel like gave SGA extra points, and Jokic was putting up Jokic numbers, which gave him what wound up being the winning margin. But I do think that both have very strong cases, and both have, one has a very clear negative side to his, and the other one is just like he just isn't as good of a player, I think. So I think where it comes down to for me is that, like, I think Jokic is clearly the superior basketball player. Like, I feel like he affects winning for his team. He's much more integral to the success of his team than I feel like SGA is, which isn't a knock on SGA. It's just that I think the Thunder are such a complete team, and it's optimized. Like their vibes are immaculate. Like they have a roster that's kind of built to win basketball games, especially in the regular season. Whereas if Jokic isn't there he is the sun around which the Nuggets revolve.
Yeah.
So it's like if your argument is about more valuable, like I think Jokic is more valuable to his team because the team is built that way for him to be. Whereas I think the Thunder are still probably a 45 to 50 win team if they didn't have SGA on it.
I mean, because we've seen them without Jokic for a little bit, and they were still winning. It just wasn't the way that they did. And I think they went on a little.
They don't win that much without him.
No, I think they went on a slump for a little bit too. Like it was about 50-50.
I don't have those numbers on hand.
No,
so
I'm just thinking of.
I know the Nuggets got off to a really slow start this season. And there were a lot of questions around the construction of this team and like, what's the loss of KCP too much? Like, what's the deal with the Nuggets? And then as the season went on, they started to click a little bit more. Jokic numbers were Jokic numbers, even through that losing streak. It was just finding the right combination around him and for other guys to kind of get used to their roles. The overall defense in Denver has taken a step back, which, to Eric's point, you see, which sounds really weird. When Jokic is not playing, like everything just kind of falls apart in Denver. So if your criteria, which makes the MVP conversation so fascinating, because there's no one set thing that people are looking to when they're trying to say this is what makes the MVP the MVP. To some people, it's just the best player on the best team. He's going to be MVP. For some people, it's like, well, the on-off numbers show that, when this guy is not playing, this team is the worst. So he's clearly the most valuable player in the league, because if they don't have him, they can't produce, which again is an argument for Jokic. And when I look at SGA's case, it's just, for me, the consistency in which he's been able to play this season. Like every night, you're going to get that 30 ball from SGA. You're going to get the defense. He's top 3 in steals in the league this year. He has a full command of the game, and watching him take that step into like superstardom, it's really fun. I think people want to reward that too with that MVP on him, because he's been hooping. Like both options are really good ones. And I think for some people, they know that if they vote Jokic, that's going to be his fourth MVP? Fifth? Yeah, fourth. So like it puts him in a rarefied air that some people don't want to do, and that clouds their judgment with voting. But for me, like I said, I'm really torn between the two. They both had really solid numbers. I don't look to the head-to-heads between the Nuggets and the Thunder like, that's why he's MVP and this solves it all. So if I had to pick between the two, honestly, I'm not mad at either answer. But at this point, I think it's Jokic. I think it's Jokic again, which is I want SGA to get it because he's one of my favorite players. I love watching him, what he's doing. But, man, Jokic has just been doing some stuff this year again where it's just like he keeps elevating his game, and he was already one of the best players in the world.
I just, like, strip away everything. Like, 29 points, almost 13 rebounds, 10 assists, 57.5% from the field, 41% from three, 81% from the line. Like, it's kind of hard to argue against it. And just for comparison, say SGA is 35-6 at 52, 37, 90. So, like, which are, again, phenomenal numbers, especially for a guard. But it's just like it's so overwhelming for me that Jokic is the best player. And that's coming from somebody that, roots for Giannis's team. Jokic is the best player in the league in the prime of his career, putting up numbers that we've literally never seen before, on efficiency that we've never seen before. As a center, like, yes, his defense is terrible, but again, like the lift that he has for that team, to me, makes him much more valuable than SGA. And again, like, we're arguing greatness. Like, it's all degrees. Like, it's not saying, one's great, one's trash. It's this one's great, this one is greater to me. And I think that for me, best player on the best team is always kind of like a lazy argument, because it strips away any type of context. It's like
they win it because of him.
But like, Jason Taylor is the best player on Boston, but like, Boston is a collection of, the sum of their parts is greater than whatever the saying. Whereas like, because of like how the team is constituted, it's like, yes, that team is going to win games. Like, somebody has to be the best player on that team, and it's just lazy. So I need more than that, which SGA has provided. Because again, I just read off what his numbers are. Like, I think he's at 62 straight games where he scored at least 20 points, which
I think it's like Nick Jordan or something like that with that.
Like you said, like, it's the consistency from night to night. You know exactly what to expect. Again, like, going back to what Tim was starting to do, where it's like, who do I think is going to get it? I think it's going to be SGA because, one, voter fatigue. Two, there's a certain bias within NBA media, or at least the loudest voices, where they want to give it to somebody that plays like Shea, that looks like Shea, and, Nikola Jokic doesn't necessarily fit into the narrative that they try to push. It's the same reason why Embiid won 2 years ago, I think. But I think that it should go to Jokic, at least as of right now. But like, there's still a month, and that opinion can change.
Yeah.
Just for record's sake, the Nuggets this season per StatMuse is 3-4, while the Thunder is 1-1 without Shea.
Well, I think, again, like, I think there's a difference between like not having them for a game and they're on off when he plays, because they're on off for pretty much the entire time that Jokic has been Jokic. They've cratered when he leaves the court, which, I mean, you could say it's just they have a bunch of bad backup centers, but also it's like it just shows you how important he is to that team's success.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Listen, and again, I don't think people should have their mind made up at this point. Like, there's still a month left in the season for things to change, for performances to happen. Like, it's the entirety of the season. It's not about a particular stretch when it comes to MVP. It's the entire season. So this is just a check-in now. Maybe in 3 weeks, I'm like, it's SGA. I don't know what can happen over the next month that could change the opinion, but like, there's still a lot of ball to be played. So we'll have to keep our eye on who continues to rise up them rankings. I was really hoping it would be Giannis' year this year. That ain't gonna happen. But listen, two great players there with SGA and Jokic, and I wanted to talk to y'all this week about great players because I started Celtic City on HBO Max. Well, it's not HBO, it's just Max now. They took the HBO part out. So it started up or whatever, and the first episode was about the founding fathers of the Celtics. And as I was watching it, it just reminded me, I love NBA history. There's a Locked On host, the host of Locked On Clippers, Darian, who at one point went through the entire history of the NBA. And I was like, dang, that actually sounds really fun to do. I might do that this year, just year by year, going through every single thing in NBA history. So when I get documentaries like this, what you say?
Tag your boy.
Hey, listen, we can go through it this season or this off season. It's so fun watching those documentaries, be reminded of the history of the league and how we got there. And during the series, it mentioned like Bob Cousy was considered the greatest basketball player on earth at one point, and you look at the highlights of it and you see how he's dribbling the basketball, and people always want to make the joke of like, I mean, they played against plumbers and this and that era. And of course, Bill Russell was great. Of course, Wilt Chamberlain had these numbers. Look who they were playing against. And I think a lot of the conversations around different generations of ball and past greats is disingenuous because one, you can only play who you can play. Like they can't help who the competition was. And also part of why these players were so generational is because they did things that hadn't been seen before in the game. And that is what inspired the next generation of players to continue to pick that up, take that part of the game and continue to grow it. Like you don't get to Kyrie Irving without Bob Cousy, which sounds weird, but you don't get there without him. Like the rules are different. The eras are different. The competition is different. But I think there needs to be more appreciation for those past greats and what they did, because those guys helped set the stage of what current guys wanted to do and how they wanted to play. Like I think about someone like Pistol Pete, where, you know, during his time and even what Cousy was doing and stuff where they're like, basketball is not meant to be showboated. Like you're supposed to play the game this way. And it changes and it evolves. And I just feel like Doc Rivers mentioned an advice to Wesley Matthews, who's beginning his broadcast career. He's like, what advice would you give him starting his career? And Doc Rivers said, just highlight the game. Just be a fan of the game of basketball and you'll be all right. And I think a lot of that is missing in a lot of conversations around the league of just being a fan of the sport. So I just wanted to have a moment and be like, I think the greats need to be appreciated a little bit more and just kind of get y'all opinions on the conversations that happen around, oh, you couldn't play in this era. And this isn't for the role players of the era. I'm talking about the great players of the era because they were great for reasons. So I just want to get y'all opinion on the conversations around these types of players, the eras, and how do y'all appreciate different eras of basketball? Because even if you look back to when we grew up in the 90s and how basketball was played to how it's played now, it's vastly different. Like go back and watch the Lakers Bulls finals from what was it, 91? I think that finals was. It looks completely different.
I just want to say, like, I've been torn because as a student of NBA history, like I kind of want to watch it, but also I hate the Celtics side is also like, man, fuck that. So we'll see. Like I'm not gonna give it the benefit of like giving it live views. Like I'm gonna wait until it's all out and then I'll go back and binge it later. But to answer your question, like I think that what people fail to realize is that each generation stands on the shoulder of giants. So like Bob Cousy didn't have the benefit of watching Bob Cousy or Pistol Pete or Isaiah Thomas. Like every generation gets to watch and be inspired by the people that came before them. So whereas fundamentals in Bob Cousy's days was be able to dribble with both hands, fundamental like crossovers come in and different ball handling drills come in. And there are different things that you just have to learn by watching the people that come before you. It's the same reason why like we didn't jump straight from, you know, stone wheels to airplanes. Like everything kind of has to happen in sequential order to evolve and continue to, you know, improve society. So it's kind of people don't pay attention to history. People don't care about history. The only thing that matters is in the moment now, and in the moment now just sprung up into existence for all they know. But it is important to understand like the context of what was happening in those times and why, you know, why they were how they were at the time versus what we are today, and how those two things kind of come into play with each other. Part 2, I'm gonna just get all my stuff out and then tell me you can pick it up where you want to. Part 2 is the conversation around everything. It's like I've made the comparison a billion times, but it's like if you look at NBA's coverage versus NFL's coverage, like the thing that stands out the most is that NFL people love football, and that is what comes out in everything that they do. They enjoy football. They enjoy teaching people about football. They love highlighting the great things about football. Like there's a dark underbelly to the NFL and to professional football and collegiate football in general. But you never hear that stuff on their broadcast because it's all about celebrating the game. When you look at NBA coverage, it's a bunch of haters. Like it's a bunch of people that are like, things were better back in my day. This person now isn't as great as this person back then. This person back then isn't as great as these people now. Like it's all about comparison and running somebody down. Like it's a very zero sum type of environment where it's like there can only be one good thing going at a time, and if it's not that good thing, then it's trash. Like you got one champion, you got 29 losers. Like that's really the way that people look at basketball. It's like, why can't we appreciate two teams that are 3 games above 500 if they're progressing, if they're getting better, if they have young players that may be something in a couple years, or if they have great players that are like, hey, just appreciate them while they're still doing great things. Like, why can't that be the conversation versus, oh, we got to get Ant out of Minnesota and we got to make sure that, you know, so discord between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Like it always has to be some type of drama or some type of like negativity, and it's draining. Honestly, like it, you know, people look at ratings and it's like there are probably a million reasons why ratings are bad. Some of them don't even really matter because it's like cord cutters, like people are finding other ways to watch. But also it's like, who the fuck wants to sit and watch people be negative about a thing that you enjoy? I don't personally. So I think that is like the number one thing that I wish that the NBA would kind of pay attention to, which is how their paid partners talk about and promote the league. And its history.
I feel like when it comes to conversations about grades, people have become so fixated on numbers. And people have become so fixated on what have you done for me lately that what you've done for me before or what role you've paid for me really don't matter no more. Yeah, you did that then, but so-and-so did that, and then they built off of that, and they built off of that. So now I'm here, and I really only care about the path that I'm building now or the road that I'm building now. You know, so the disrespect comes into the greats because now it's like, oh, shit, that was then, that was old. We really don't care about that no more. When foundation matters, when having a base matters, when having just knowledge, like Eric said before, like everything has to progress. And some things that's done today or done away with today, if you look back in the past, maybe it was a little bit, it worked for a reason, or it didn't work for a reason when you're trying to implement something that already failed. Like knowing your history, at least some of it, will help you prevent some future mistakes or, you know, pulling things down. And a lot of the younger generation, one, lazy with trying to read some shit. So you got to show them the shit. You can't read it off to them. You can't go tell them go find a book or whatever the case may be, because then I'm just trying to find a book of numbers. I'm just trying to find a book of stats. Yeah, he was cold, but he ain't got no rings. Ring conversation, it can't be the only thing too, because again, that part. A lot of people that started these sports, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, like y'all said, they didn't have nobody really to come out of that. It was innovators. They were innovators. And so you have to be able to understand certain things certain steps that it takes for things to progress properly.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people feel like the game is getting away from what it used to be, which is why I know they do hate on the media a lot. Like in the media, there has to be drama based because they feel like it's entertainment more than anything else. So entertainment should be number one. And for some reason, to Eric's point, they can't figure out a way to make it appealing without drama. The drama should be a sidebar.
Yeah, it should be like a little the salt-based sprinkle on top of being entertained by the game of itself and appreciating what you see in front of you. Like Sal, I'm not trying to call you out, buddy, in the comments here, but he said he just wanted lay PEDs to retire. He ruined the game of basketball, and it's like, dog.
I disagree.
That's what the fuck I was just talking about.
like, come on, man. Like LeBron James came into the NBA with so much pressure on him. They were comparing him to the Michael Jordan and Kareem and all that before he even played a single NBA game.
The chosen one.
And he has played for 20 some years. He started playing basketball when I was a freshman in high school back in 2003. I am grown with like 6 nieces and nephews. I have a 21-year-old. Like, I am a whole different person at this stage than when LeBron James started playing basketball. And I'm not saying you have to like all these players, but I just don't get how you can look at somebody who has that much greatness behind them and not appreciate. And that's what I get back to of like, I think NBA coverage in particular just needs more appreciation. And it's not to say like you can't criticize the game. You can criticize whatever you want to, but like have a reason for it. Like it needs to be based in something outside of this looks different than what I used to watch when I was a kid. So it can't be as good as what I had because nostalgia told me that my era was the best or whatever the case may be. Like it just, I don't know. Watching Celtic City, it always makes me want to, like, when I start sports documentaries, I end up binging just a bunch of sport documentaries because I just always enjoy those aspects. Like one of my favorite things to do with my uncles is always just randomly asking my uncles, hey, who's the coldest shooting guard you ever saw? Or who's your favorite? Like just randomly to get their opinion because they've been able to watch basketball since the 60s. And like, they can have some frame of reference that I can't. Like, I love having historical NBA conversations. Like I think about my Uncle Tony, rest in peace. When we were going to one of his treatments, I was just like, hey, who's your favorite player ever in the history of the game? And that man said Tiny Archibald, like he's like that, a baller, a name you don't hear as often. But he made me go and look the stuff up now, where it was just like, hey, yo, like he was nice, he was super nice. So I get it, but I just think there needs to be more appreciation for how different eras of the game were played and how you got from one era to the next, because that explains a lot of what you see right now.
Like, just imagine if, like, to prop up Tom Brady, like people were like, Joe Montana was trash. And or like to hold on to their childhood, Aaron Rodgers can never be as great as Brett Favre because some arbitrary thing. Like greatness exists in different forms and it looks different depending on the context that it's in, but it's greatness nonetheless. Like it's kind of a threshold. It's not a benchmark. You know what I mean? Like it's there can be room for two because like you can never really see, you'll never know
because the eras are so different.
There's no way to game it out. Like, is 6 championships in 10 years better than is 6 championships and 4 first round exits better than 10 trips to the finals with only 4 championship wins? Like, I can argue one way, I can argue it the other way. It's like, well, at least he made it to the finals, or like if you're comparing like what people did at a certain age versus at a certain point in their career. But if they enter the NBA 4 years apart, like you're comparing apples to oranges. Like it's not a 1-to-1, and because they can't go up against each other because you can't teleport a guy from 2025 and put him into 1972, like you'll never know. So just appreciate what they did in the context of the era that they played.
Now, I think you can have some fun of just like, hey, who would win in a 1-on-1? Like, would it be, but you have to, if you have those conversations,
it's not a,
it's not an end all be all
defining thing.
Real quick, you mentioned 72. So I'm gonna kick back just a little bit on disparaging people. 1972 Dolphins undefeated team.
Mhm.
They booed every damn body that get close.
Hey, I don't blame them, to be
They
honest.
do not applaud no damn body. When they get close, they come out the woodworks. They on X. Hey, watch out, bro. Like there's a little bit kickback on that, but other, like they do applaud the game and the NFL kicking up. But them 72 Dolphins, you get close, them motherfuckers come out like wolves.
Hey, we just saw Dickerson saying like, I don't want Saquon breaking my record. Like, I'm gonna watch it. I don't want him to do, but I think that's different too.
But that's still
we're
throughout the season. But even then, in that instance, throughout the season, they're talking about that history that could possibly be made and who's in front of there and who they didn't pass now this season. And hey, we inching up on here, and this is the final game for Saquon. He can definitely break the rushing record. Will he do it and become a whole highlight of that one record?
But I think the difference is that they're not going on TV being like, well, even if they do break the record, they never going to be as good as us because they didn't do X, Y, and Z. That's or, true. You know, he may have the record, but he did it in 17 games and I did it in 14. So clearly he ain't shit. Like, it's still like, yeah, I'm protective of my own record, but it's still like a celebration, you know, it's still love essentially. Like, I don't know. It's different lenses through which like the two leagues kind of see things.
So we can end it here. I just want to encourage people, like, before you jump into the conversations about the different areas of ball, like, really make sure you have an appreciation for it and what was happening during that time. Because, like, Bob Cousy made a joke of like when Bill Russell got on the Celtics, and he was just like, he was an athlete playing amongst a bunch of Frankensteins. Like, he just looked so different playing basketball. And hearing Bill talk about how he viewed his playing, being like, well, hey, better than me, but like, all I want to do is win. I don't really care what my numbers look like. So Bill Russell was pretty much saying, I know what I'm doing here, and I don't care about my individual. I'll be a super role player because I know that's what we need to do for me to win. And like, that concept has not gone away from the NBA. Like, and I think that these different greats could have played in different eras. The rules are different. Like, you mean to tell me you don't think that Jerry West, if he was born in 1997 and came up being able to watch people hoop the way that they hoop now, and then have all the technology behind him, all the sports science behind him, being able to take care of his body, the private flights, like even appreciation for how they had to travel game to game back then and then go out there and compete on a very more condensed schedule than what these guys have now. Like, there's no way you can tell me like, yo, Jerry West wouldn't make it now. Like, he probably would. He could be even better.
There's a through line with pretty much every great player that's ever existed is that they're maniacs. And like, that maniacal work ethic is always going to get you far, regardless of the time that you live in. Like, Jerry West was doing everything that he needed to do to maximize his talent, his God-given talent. Which is the same thing you can say about Giannis, which is the same thing you can say about Jordan, which is the same thing you can say about Kobe, which is the same thing you can say about Barkley. Like, all of them did what they needed to do because, like, they were insane competitors that just wanted to be the best basketball player, win as many games as possible. Mm-hmm. Like, that carries over regardless of what era you're in. So, like, I have no doubt that even if Giannis was born in 1956 and had to play in the 70s, like, he would still be great because he would do whatever he had to do to get a competitive edge, to learn as much as he could from the people that preceded him, and to apply it in a way like that. Basketball genius and that will to win essentially is what kind of sets people apart. And that's always going to be the case.
And how? And speaking of Giannis, I see a comment came in here from Sal just saying, you know, hey, Coach Rivers called a meeting with Giannis and Dame after Tuesday's loss to the Warriors. Can you guys touch on this, please? And let me tell you something, Sal. You are here right on time, buddy, because we definitely were planning to have a conversation about those Milwaukee Bucks and talking about Giannis's greatness. Feels like a great time to talk about what's going on with this current team right now.
So I'm thinking, right, we're watching these games. Milwaukee Bucks. We'll talk about the Bucks here. We're watching these games, and we have these ups and these downs, right? And one game you feel like, hey, this is what we're looking at. This is okay. I can see all the pieces working. We clicking. We're gonna make a run. And then the next game, maybe by the fourth quarter, you're like, what the fuck happened here? So I'm curious to know, what is our ceiling here, realistically? And what is our floor here, realistically? Because I don't know if the greatness that we see is a facade or just luck. I mean, because I can't call it luck because we've had consistency at one point.
Let me say this. The only thing the Bucks have been consistent at this season is being inconsistent. They have been consistently inconsistent throughout this year, where you get the stretches of good ball being played, and then you get a stretch where they go 5-5. You know, right now I think they're 3-5. I need to check the record over the last few now, but like the slumps, like they just pop in. They have been consistently inconsistent throughout this year. And after they lost to the Warriors last night, Doc Rivers post game, visibly frustrated, visibly short with the reporters. Like he's like everything's wrong. Execution, there's so much that's wrong right now. Like, we're gonna fix it. I ain't gonna talk to y'all about what it needs to be fixed, but like it's got to be fixed. So when I saw the reports today that after the game, Doc met with Dame and with Giannis, I said that makes some sense as to why, to the media, he didn't want to be like, well, my plan is to do this, because he knew he needed to talk to his stars. That's where it's going to start, and that's where it ends with this Bucks team. So to quickly answer your question of what's the ceiling of this Bucks team, I feel like they are still like a second round team. I think they can get through the first round. The second round, I think, is going to require a really big effort from Giannis and from Dame for them to get out of the second round. Like, to me, they feel like a second round ceiling, and also kind of they could lose in the first round. I think they're better than last year. So to me, they're like a second round team. But if they can figure things out, they can execute at a high level, I could also see them getting to the Eastern Conference. Like, I could see the path where it happens. It's just that they haven't done it consistently enough to give me confidence to come out and be like, Eastern Conference Finals, Milwaukee Bucks. Like, I can't.
Not like years past, at least.
Yeah, like years past, I'm like finals, but like I can't. They haven't consistently shown me enough to be like, yeah, I think that can happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I've seen a stretch of greatness at any point. Like, they've had streaks where they've won and it looks like they're kind of putting things together, but even within those, like, the effort and execution from quarter to quarter was even waning. Like, you know, they would have a quarter where they score 40-something points, hit every three, you know, the defense is rotating, they're doing what they have to do, and then they lose it. Like, you know, like last night, they give up a 4-point play at the end of the third, and that kind of lingers for like the next 5 to 7 minutes of playing time. It's just like they swing so wildly, and I don't have faith that it's just they'll lock in when the playoffs come. Because even if they lock in, it's like, what foundation do they have to build up to? Like, if you have it in gear and you're just like, we're just trying to get to the playoffs and then we'll turn it on, it's like, you haven't demonstrated that you can even get it out of that gear to turn up. Like, if there was like a sustained stretch of play, and this is going back 2 years, like since Dame got there, like, they have just not earled. Like, it just hasn't. Yeah. It hasn't come together, and like it seems like there have been various points where it seems like, oh, maybe they're rounding the corner. Oh, maybe this thing is kind of sliding into place, and then they just like they lose it, and then they lose it for like 2-3 weeks, and then it gets back to like, okay, well, they're pushing that boulder back up the hill. They're kind of getting. It's about to go over. Oh, nope, it fell back. You know, that's been the cycle for the last 2 years, and it's like we have a large enough sample size now to where it's like, this is who they are. So, you know, like, playoff Giannis is a different beast.
Facts.
We ain't seen him in a while either.
Man,
we haven't seen Giannis in the playoffs in 3 years, or at least a healthy Giannis in the playoffs in 3 years. So it's like, that is pretty much the only thing that I can kind of point to where I know that guy is going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Who's coming along with him? I don't know. Is this team built in a way that can kind of maximize? Can they be maximized when they get that peak Giannis? Because one of my frustrations has been like, for as great as he's been on offense, as great as his numbers have been, the defensive intensity has waxed and waned kind of like the same way that the team's production has, where it's like you'll get a wild play every once in a while where he just like sprints up and down the floor, he has a chase down block, or he'll be like a terror in the half court, but then he'll be ball watching the next possession, or he just doesn't knock out a guy and gives up 3 straight offensive rebounds. And it's like, it starts from the top. If your top guy isn't going all out and your second guy is just kind of like a bouncer at the club that's just letting everybody in, like, yeah, of course, like it's gonna that's gonna have a trickle down effect. And like honestly, their defense have been better than their offense.
Facts all year, which is crazy. Baked Beans said, "Was J Kidd spitting with energy and effort after all?"
To be fair,
yes,
energy and effort. I preach that to my daughter who's playing basketball now. Like, you gotta try, my boy. Like, don't be out there just lollygagging this shit. Like, and it's noticeable when you're not and when you are trying. When you don't have the energy or that effort, it's impossible.
I think that's something that you have to kind of keep instilling in a young team, which is what Jason Kidd was doing all those years ago. I get that with the old ass team like the Bucks are, you can't have that from possession to possession, game to game. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I need you to show me that you can put together 4 quarters. You need to show, because like that's what playoff basketball is. That's possession by possession, quarter by quarter, game by game. You have to show me that you can lock in, and it can't be we had a great first quarter, we had a great third quarter, second quarter we kind of let our foot off the gas, and fourth quarter we let go of the rope. Like that has been the Bucks this season. And it's like, no, you need to lock in. Show me for 48 minutes. Like, let's start there. Give me 48 minutes of peak everything to show me what your ceiling is. But if you've done that and this is the body of work that we have to show for it, this team ain't going nowhere.
I mean, you saw them put together that full effort like in the NBA Cup game against the Thunder, where it was like, man, that's a full 48 of just dominant basketball here. But again, it's been few and far between of a consistent 48 minutes. You said what?
Yeah. That was like December 11th, and it is.
Listen, I can only cling to what I've seen, Aaron.
What if he's trying to save himself from injury as well? So he kind of took a step back on the two-way thing. Like, all right, I feel you. I want to go. I want to attack. Like, it's my nature in me, but at the same time, this is what I was doing towards the end of the last couple seasons. I kept getting hurt. So maybe it's the whole year thing. It could be preservation on court as well, but maybe part of it is to preserve himself and make sure that he at least can stick around the entire game or try not to get hurt. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I think maybe it's a factor. Like
I said, we are a month away from the playoffs. It's winning time now. Like this is the time that you're preserving yourself for. You don't just turn it on game 1 of the playoffs. Like you got to be humming at this time of the year. Like you can't just be like, oh, we're just trying to play out the string, and then our intensity level goes from a 25 to a 95. Like it don't work that way. You got to put in the work.
To that point, I think that was part of the problem for the team last year. And they did not finish well down the stretch last season. And when the season ended, I remember very clearly Doc Rivers saying, well, we're finally at the playoffs, and that's what they wanted to get to the whole way anyway. So like, now let's see what we can do here, which said a lot to me of like, this was a team that was just waiting to get to the playoffs. That's all they were here to play for, was the playoffs, and their effort waned throughout the regular season because they were like, this game, I mean, it is what it is, but this stretch of games that the Bucks are currently on, with the standings being the way that they are, with how close it is in that 4, 5, 6 race in the East right now between the Bucks and the Pacers and the Pistons, like, you don't have much breathing room here. Like, you could either have home court in the first round, or you can drop to 6 and play the Knicks and all real, like, that's probably going to be the 3 matchup, right? Like, I don't think the Knicks are moving out of 3. I think the top 2 in the East are settled. So, like, you're looking at the Knicks first round matchup if you fall to 6, and we've seen how the games have gone against the Knicks so far. But let me ask y'all this question before we move off Bucks talk and everything like this, because teams have started to play Kyle Kuzma differently. I think the Thunder were like the first team. They put Chet Holmgren on Kyle Kuzma, and then they put a wing onto Brook Lopez because they're like, we don't trust Kyle Kuzma shooting. Like, they're treating Kyle Kuzma the way the Bucks treated Grant Williams in that playoff series of like, if you want to shoot, go ahead, buddy. Self-guard. Do what you're going to do. If we're going to lose, it's going to have to be to you. And the Bucks have been utilizing Kyle Kuzma a bit more as like a spot-up shooter, which is not his strong suit. Like, we knew that as soon as the trade happened. Like, that ain't what he's here to do. And I mentioned this on Locked On Bucks too, and I've seen other people bringing this up of just, I think Dame even said it post-game after the Warriors of like, listen, if that's what teams are doing, we have to do something different too. Like, because if we're doing pick and rolls with Dame and it's a wing on Brook, what advantage are you getting from that switch? Like, there isn't one. Like, you have to bring Kyle Kuzma into those actions then. Like, you have to utilize the players on your team in a way that's going to make the most sense. Like, how do y'all feel about the Kuzma experience so far? Because I think it's been better than what I expected it to be, but I think the Bucks need to continue to do a better job of utilizing him in a way that makes more sense because of the shortcomings that are in his game with his shooting.
I don't think it's always just the coaching aspect, because I think it was the Golden State game. I tuned in for a minute, and I think it was back-to-back possessions. He got the ball on the wing, pulled up, three, bricked it. We on the fast break on the opposite direction. We got it back on defense. Rebound, they outlet passed it to him. Instead of him driving, he took another step on the wing and pulled. I don't think they want him to do that shit. Some of that is just him. And it'd be one of those like, if you don't stop shooting that shit. I get it. Keep him honest.
But the shot selection has to be right.
Right. And I get it. Because they ain't trusting that shit. They're not trusting that you finna do this pull up three and bang it. You might hit, you might. And if they do, they say, hell yeah. I'm glad he made that bitch. Do it again. And you know what? Next possession, he's pulling up.
Where do I start? Like, one, I think that people expecting him to be the Chris Middleton replacement, like, get that out of your head.
Yeah, that's not what he's here to do. He can't.
That man, I just want to say, he is super Andre Jackson. Like, and I'm not even saying like to rib. I'm just saying, like, he gives you the same strengths and weaknesses that Andre Jackson did. He just
I've never seen
bigger,
that. That's funny.
Like, and I think that lineup.
Okay.
Like, that's part of the reason why they're throwing out the lineup that they did, and they just kind of replaced Jackson with Kuzma, because it was like, okay, I see kind of like the bones of how this can work, but we need somebody that's going to do something on offense. The problem is, and I asked this question in our group chat, and I've asked it on Twitter now, and I've only gotten one response that was kind of like a half-hearted cutting. What exactly is Kyle Kuzma good at in terms of scoring the basketball? Because the defense has been better than advertised. I'm happy with him on that end. He gives them more defensive versatility. If you want to compare him to Chris, he's out there more. You know that you can rely on him to be on the court and to not be a liability defensively. Mm-hmm. He's also shown that he can take the toughest matchup, which is something that they didn't have before because, again, God bless his heart, Andre Jackson, not built for that. But offensively, he can't shoot. He's a 29% three-point shooter. He's a 62% free throw shooter. He can't finish. Like, every drive that he has is an adventure. The number of bunnies that I've seen him either miss or almost miss is way too high for somebody that's 6'9". And he doesn't really have an in-between game of which to speak. So, like, he can handle the ball really well for a guy that's 6'9". He makes good cuts. Mm-hmm. He improves your offensive rebounding. But as far as scoring, like, there's not, like, number 3, like, I know what his go-to move is. Like, if he's in the free throw line, free throw extended area, I'm like, you know what? That's a good shot. He can make that. Mm-hmm. If he does like that side step 3,
that's off.
It's probably off, but at least I've seen that he can make that. If it's just a catch and shoot three, that's going off. Like I have like their offensive profile. I have his offensive profile down where it's like, okay, I want him shooting in the mid range. I may or may not want him, but like I at least know that that's a good shot for him, right? Whereas like with Kuzma, it's like there's not a spot on the floor where I'm like, oh, Kuzma's can get it to him. You know what I mean? Like I need to at least, like with Chris, it's like I knew where his spots were on the floor. Giannis, I know where his spots are on the floor. Dame, I know if he's coming off a screen, like it's probably going to be like a side step three, or he's going to like fake to drive and do a step back, or he's actually going to get to the rim. Like I know what his profile is to get to the places that he wants to get on the court. Kuzma just be out there doing shit. He's like, he run around like a chicken with his head cut off. And it's like, I need to know what shots we're trying to get him because they're the shots that he can make. But it's like there isn't any, or we haven't found them yet. And that's a very concerning problem if he's supposed to be your third or fourth best offensive player.
I think I love that perspective of we need to find where Kyle Kuzma's spots on the court are. I think I'm the one who responded with cutting. That's what he's good at offensively. And I think for that reason, the way that you utilize him is that you have to get him the easy shots. Like get some things that's going to be just easy to make. Let him warm up a little bit. Because even in the third quarter against the Warriors, once he saw like the first one drop, then the second one dropped, and it's like, okay, he's in a pretty good rhythm right now. I think he went 3 of 7 from 3 in that third quarter. 2 of the shots, I was like, those were not good shots. One was the side step 3 that Tim mentioned. Another one was a pull up 3 in like transition, where I was like, that's a heat check. Like, I get it, but like, come on, read the room. Read the room.
To answer your question about what is he good at, and that's just kind of like Camille. Like I would say, like being real aggressive with driving.
Yeah,
like he really uses his body a lot when he goes to the paint. So I'm feeling like getting them lobs. He's probably a better lob threat, to be honest with you. Like as a lob threat, as opposed to anyway.
As a lob threat,
and he has the bounces and the athleticism for it. Like I feel like maybe get him around the rim, use his speed, use his athleticism, and get him more in the lob area or the dunker spot to where you can utilize him around the rim better.
Well,
he's a bigger wing.
Combining the two things that you guys have said, like Camille, you said he's being guarded by bigs, which means
put him in actions, have him roll.
If you have him be the roller, like maybe that's a way to get him easier looks at the basket. Like you see with Dame, it took him like 10 minutes to be playing with Jericho Sims to be like, "Hey, I got it." What do the shooter be saying? Like, I understand it now. Yeah, like.
We have athleticism. Like, use it.
He is not a creator. Like that is not his ministry. So they need to figure out how to use him on offense. And again, like given his broke ass shot this year, like I also don't want to give him a bunch of usage to kind of figure it out. But it's like, I mean, I guess at some point, if you're going to be leaning on him offensively, you gotta put in the work now to kind of figure out what he does and where you need to get him the ball.
Use him as Super Andre Jackson, bro.
I mean, that might be the title of the show this week. Which
just lob that motherfucker up to him, and play some defense.
I think that there's something to that, and I saw someone suggest this on Twitter about because they were, the conversation, have him roll more, and they were like, if you do that, we haven't really seen like put Giannis in the dunker spot in those actions. And like, see what you can create, because Kuz is a better passer than what I thought that he was. And if he can create those advantages too on the roll, and you have Giannis on the dunker, because like you can really do some things. And after the conversation that Dame and Giannis had with Doc Rivers, I'm really curious to know, or see, I should say, if anything drastically changes in this offense and just how they utilize certain players down the stretch here as well. Because another thing that I would say I want to see more, I want to see Taurean Prince, and I want to see AJ Green shoot more threes. Find a way to get them more 3-point attempts. Gary Trent Jr. doesn't have that problem. Gary Trent Jr. can go in there. He's going to put them up, and that's what I love about Gary Trent. You need that. And I just think there just needs to continue to be more clarity for this Bucks team and how just to get the best out their players.
But also, those two players that you mentioned do not dribble.
No, so you have to get them the looks.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want you guys to shoot more threes. I don't want Taurean Prince to think I got this. Like, no, you don't got this. Just stand your ass in the corner, unless they're trying to run a empty side pick and roll, in which case get your ass out of that corner and like just sit there ready in the triple threat position to catch and shoot. Like that.
He's shown a little bit on the finish, a little bit putting it on the floor and getting to the rim. He's shown a little bit there.
He's shown that he has the ability to do it. He hasn't shown the ability to do it well consistently. And it's like, I don't want you taking those offensive possessions. Like, I think part of the problem is that the Bucks rely too much on Giannis and Dame offensively to create everything, but at the same time, it's because you don't have enough creators on the court. Like, and trying to pigeonhole somebody like Taurean Prince into that role, like, no. Like, which team was it that, like, he had, was it the Pacers? Was it the Pacers game where he had, like, 20-something points? There's somebody that said, we're going to let Taurean Prince beat us. The same way that the Warriors are like, we're going to let Kyle Kuzma beat us. Like, there's a reason why like they're willing to make that bet, and it's like, okay, if we get burned on it one time, so what? But it's not going to happen 4 out of 7 times. What the calculus is going to be in the playoffs.
Let me ask y'all this, and we can wrap up the Bucks talk for this week. What do you think is the best 5-man rotation for the Milwaukee Bucks? And as I say that, I see Shells had a comment come in just saying somebody suggested that Trent Jr. and Prince should start and Kuzma should come off the bench. So, like, when you think about this Bucks team and the options they have, because one thing I want to say that I'm more positive about this year's iteration of the Milwaukee Bucks over last year's is that they do have more options. They're a bit more versatile in what they can throw out there. Last year, the options were what they were. Like, it just was what it was. But in this team, you have your Gary Trent Jr., you have Kevin Porter Jr., who has been someone else who's played better than what I thought we would see from him coming to the Milwaukee Bucks. You have AJ Green. You have other options. What do you think is the best 5-man rotation that the Bucks can throw out there on the court?
So I, for one, have always wanted to see, even though it's an issue, I think it would be an issue defensively, but I wanted to see Dame and Gary Trent in the backcourt. Because I feel like Trent's trigger and the way once he get hot, bro, like he just keep pulling that motherfucker. If we ever get a 3-10 game from Dame or whatever the case, like unless them both ice cold, like you have sharpshooters on both sides, so that's going one already. The orbit and space is gonna be created. I feel like honestly, I want Prince to start too.
Okay,
with Giannis and Brook.
Dame, Gary Trent Jr., Prince, Giannis, and Brook is your preferred 5, and you would have Kuz come off the bench.
Correct. I would have him run with KPJ and AJ Green in them, because thinking about to use him as Super Andre Jackson, that him being that for that lineup would be more beneficial than him doing what he's doing with the starters.
And in your world, then you could also use Kuz a bit more like they use Giannis, because he'd be the big in most of those lineups with them,
which would utilize his athleticism, and he ain't really got to dribble as much. But if he do, he can use his aggressive driving against the second squad or some of the smaller guys, or if they feel like doing it. So I feel like he would probably be better running with them, because the bench ain't bad, bro. Like I fuck with our bench guys, like. And that's the thing, like some of them, like I feel like Trent has years of starting too. Like it's not like he ain't never been one, so he know how to handle himself. As when he was in backcourt with Dame before, he was cooking. So I feel like I want them 3, because I like Prince's defense and shooting still too.
Okay.
With those,
Eric, what's your preferred 5 for the Bucks? This man just shrugged. I don't know.
I think that this kind of highlights like, for me, what my problem is, which is we were talking before the show, Camille, about Doc Rivers and like people kind of calling out Doc Rivers, and it's like Doc hasn't been necessarily the solution, but he's been far from the problem. In my opinion, like I think the problem is that this is still a team that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's hamstrung by the fact that I don't think that their best 2 players play well, like make each other better. Like it's still, 2 years into this thing, it's still your turn, my turn type of thing. It's still Giannis wanting to be point forward when he has a Hall of Fame point guard on the court, which may be intentional. Like Dame came out this week and said like he prefers to play off the ball. So like maybe that's why it is that way. But it's kind of like you can't have two. What am I trying to say? Like I think that where the issue comes in is that if you're running a Giannis-centric lineup, if that's what the starters are going to be, then you want to maximize the shooting around it, which means that you can't start Kuzma. But you also need somebody that's going to cover up for the fact that Dame can't guard anybody. And like if you're running out Dame and Trent, like that's a small backcourt, which means that you have to find somebody for either, Gary's going to have to then guard up because he's going to have to guard whoever, like the person that the opposite of whoever's guarding like Dame's man. I'm not making sense, but like basically like whoever's guarding the point guard, like Gary's going to have to guard the guy that he should be guarding. Mm-hmm. And then Dame is just going to have to be stationed on whoever the worst offensive player is. So it kind of fucks with like your defensive matchups to have Dame out there because he's such a liability defensively. But that means that you then have to start Kuzma because he's the guy that you didn't put on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like, it there is no best five because like you don't have any lineup that's gonna like maximize those two extremes essentially.
Well, understanding that it's an imperfect lineup here, what five would you throw out there to start?
I'm actually fine with Trent because like Trent coming off the bench because I feel like he winds up closing most of the games, which is where I would rather have him anyway. And then it just comes down to, are you starting Prince or are you starting Kuzma? Prince plays a lot better with the starters. Like when he moved to the bench, he was just terrible because he didn't have people creating threes for him. Whereas again, like Kuzma fucks up your spacing. So probably Kuzma just because he's bigger, that he has a role defensively. But it's not great. I don't love it.
So you would keep it as it is what you're saying?
I'll probably I think the starters should stay how they are. The best five is probably Kuzma in place of Prince. And that should be like the closing lineup.
Wait, but they start together, so who's in Prince's place?
Trent.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry. So Trent in place of Prince. I misspoke.
I've been going over this a few different ways, and I have different answers. It feels like every other day. Because Dame's comments about enjoying playing off ball because opposing defenses put so much pressure on him, where they're pressing him full court, they're trapping him, and he's like, if someone else can bring the ball and initiate the offense, and then I can catch me in the second or third action, like I like that because it saves me a little energy along the way. And he mentioned like in the playoffs, that's something that he's looking forward to utilizing. I'm kind of coming around to the idea of what if it's Kevin Porter Jr. who starts in place of Taurean Prince to get that secondary ball handler, someone who can exert some effort on defense as well. Kuz is still out there to be able to check, the best offensive player on the other team if need be, but you have the other ball handler. KPJ for that though would have to continue improving his catch and shoot 3-point numbers as well. But he said that is something that he's aware of and he's been working on it because he knows if he is on the court with Dame and Giannis, most of his opportunities to shoot are going to come off a catch and shoot. So like, I think that there's something the Dame, Kevin Porter Jr., Kuz, Giannis, Brook lineup. I think could do something here, but again, it's I could also see it. Just keep it how you have it, and then as the game flow goes, based on what you need, switch the guys out, and then ride whatever is working in that particular game. So we're gonna see with these Bucks as they continue to go forward. I did not expect us to spend this much time talking Bucks on the pod, but our legendary fan Ken is not here. So the conversation became what it became. And real quick, Shell also had said it's crazy how much Bobby Portis has missed. And for a while there, I was like, maybe he needs to be gone off this team because he isn't fit. And after they traded Chris Middleton, I was like, no, y'all need Bobby Portis on this team. So they definitely do miss him. And when he comes back, the rotation is really interesting to consider.
Because I'm thinking him and Jericho next to each other.
That's what I was saying before Jericho got hurt, where I was like, I think that the two of them would be a really interesting front court look for Jericho's defense, but we ain't gonna be able to see it because Jericho's out for the next 4 weeks. So.
And then him and KPJ got to get a rhythm.
I will say, like, one really quick thing on Sims is that I'm so impressed by his switchability.
Yes,
like his ability to switch as a big
energy and effort.
They'll have people to check the center when he switches up of them, but like his ability to guard ones specifically is impressive.
Yeah. And he provided a look that the Bucks front court needs. Like Sims is somebody who I think is going to be valuable in like if the Bucks play the Knicks in a playoff series where you can have a bit more switchability. Him getting injured, I was like, this sucks. And the only thing that I can think that might positively come from this is similar to when Bobby Portis got the suspension, which was BP suspension forced the hand to play Sims more. You found out what you had in Sims. Now he's gone. And my hope is that him being out the lineup forces a bit more Giannis at the 5 lineups with Kuz next to him, which was part of why they brought Kuz there in the first place, to kind of help unlock those lineups. So maybe we finally get to see those lineups get a bit more run than what we've seen before. We saw it against the Warriors to a certain degree because, again, you're short on bigs. You have no other option. So if a positive can come out of this, I think one of it would be to see what those small ball lineups look like. Sal added really quick. Sims is great. And then he asked what happened to AJ Green. We've been talking about the Bucks for like 30 minutes here. This was the episode of Locked On Bucks low key. What I will say, Sal, to that, tomorrow's episode of Locked On Bucks, we actually do discuss AJ Green. So I'm actually push you to Locked On Bucks, the Thursday show, for a bit more conversation around AJ Green's play. Did you have something you want to say, E, to wrap this up?
No, we're good.
All right. Talking about an old friend here, Aaron Rodgers came out today, Wednesday here, that the Vikings said, we're good. We're gonna roll with JJ going forward as our quarterback. We don't want to be in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. From what we have heard, it seems as if the two teams that are the most likely landing spots for Aaron Rodgers happen to be the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants. Between those two teams, which one do you think makes the most sense for Aaron Rodgers to land on?
Pittsburgh.
Dwayne said, thank God, literally made my day in regards to the Vikings saying no thank you to Aaron Rodgers.
I can imagine.
And I don't blame you for feeling that way. But Tim, you said which team?
Pittsburgh. I feel like initially when I thought about it, I was like, him and Tomlin might be water and ice. I mean, not water and ice. Water and oil. And I'm like, but then again, like Tomlin has been running that organization as a successful organization since he stepped foot in that organization. So there's going to be a level of respect that comes into it that Rodgers hadn't had to deal with yet, because it wasn't Most last organization. He was just coaching it. It became Rodgers' organization here. Him stepping into a place like Pittsburgh where everybody know Mike Tomlin is no bullshit coach too. So it's like, what can he pull out of Rodgers in that type of environment with a team that also he wants to go to a winning team, or a team that has a chance to win, I should say. Pittsburgh is constantly in that position, and then adding someone like DK Metcalf does help their receiving core. They might draft another one. Oh shit, they might draft a quarterback though, like because they've been looking at
Ward or Sanders?
No. Just ran a 4.3 today. Quarterback. Shit, I was Alabama. Fuck. I'll find out. But no, because I think they got the number 5 pick, right? No, he's the 5th best quarterback in the draft. What? Jalen Milroe. Milroe, yes. Milroe ran a 4.3 today. Unofficial 4.3. But the scuttlebutt right now is because he's only the third or fourth quarterback to run a 40. But he was like, hey, I'm going to run a 4.3 and prove to y'all that I'm fast as shit. So the unofficial time at Alabama's pro day is that he ran a 4.37 or something like that. But the scouts there, a couple other ones said he ran a 4.4. Like a 4.44. But that was the second run. So they like, well, the unofficial first one was a 4.3 and the second run was a 4.4. So
you said he's considered like the 5th best quarterback in the draft?
Yeah, and Milroe's nice. I think he's with Alabama. I'm almost sure. And Millwell's nice. He really is. He's just he got a couple cats in front of him, and so they've been saying like he been out to dinner with Pittsburgh and everything like that. Like he been out to dinner with Tomlin, the GM, and the president already. Shit like that. They've been doing interviews with him. Like him and Pittsburgh are like connected. So
I mean, I would imagine like he's more of a project quarterback anyway. So even if they do draft him, they still need a guy to start this year, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like last year with Wilson and Fields.
Nah,
because I feel like
a better with like Kirk Cousins and with the Falcons, where it's like we drafted a young quarterback here, but we got the vet. I mean, even with Minnesota, that's why they got Darnold, because it was like, hey, if McCarthy needs more time, like we have a vet we can lean on here. But I think the Steelers make more sense, especially given the fact that the Giants had the third pick in the draft. Like theoretically, I think they'll be able to get one of those top two quarterbacks if they want to go that way, because the scuttlebutt around like the top three picks, like what's the edge rusher? Carter, I think it is. He's somebody who I've heard like the Browns are interested in along the way here too, but like the Browns need the quarterback too, so it's a risky game of getting in there, because before you at the Giants, you got the Titans and you got the Browns, and if either one of if Ward and Sanders go 1-2, it's not a surprise, then you out of luck. But like it can also be a thing where it's like one of them fall, but you can't bank on that. But football alone, I think that Rodgers makes more sense in Pittsburgh. He got to be outside. I could see him wanting to go to Minnesota to be in a dome and be able to have that going for him. But I think he makes sense in Pittsburgh, especially with them having Metcalf now over there as well. So Shell said the Browns are going to brown it and take a kicker.
Yeah.
I think the Giants are more than a quarterback away from where they need to go. So I think they do need to go the draft route. They're in a decent position, like you said, like it can kind of be blown up if quarterbacks go 1-2, but they're in a decent position to pick up a guy that can be like their franchise quarterback. Whereas the Steelers are who the Steelers have been basically for the last decade, where it's kind of like, hey, if we just get competent quarterback play,
be really good.
This is a team that's built to win. I mean, Kim, you asked a question before we started, or not a question, but you guys were kind of having a conversation before we started where it's like people are kind of like down on Rodgers, where it's like, they kind of speak of him more,
like a bum.
Like he's Will Levis, and he's not.
He's not.
So like the comparison that I made earlier, which bear with me, but it's kind of like a baddie once she has, like once she reaches about 40 and like the suitors start to, she baggage, maybe has a couple failed relationships in the past, has a kid or two, like the stuff that people were willing to put up with when you were younger and more desirable, they're not willing to put up with that anymore. And you still think you the baddie because like this has been your existence for your entire life. And it's kind of like people be like, you know what? Not interested. I'm good. There are younger, more attractive options to me than you, and you come with the same amount of bullshit. So like that's where Aaron Rodgers is now, essentially, where it's like, yeah, if Aaron Rodgers hit the open market 3-4 years ago, he will, it will be the biggest bidding war we've ever seen. But he's not Aaron Rodgers of 3-4 years ago. He's the Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles that had everything that happened in New York last season.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, no, Aaron Rodgers isn't like
not like he's not bad still.
He's probably like a top 15 to 20 quarterback that comes with the ego of a top 5 quarterback. And the production ain't matching.
That's fair. I think too for Rodgers, like I said, people I think have gone too far the other way on his play, especially given the fact that this was a 40-year-old man coming off of an Achilles injury this season, and he suited up for him consistently this year. And if you actually look at his play at the end of the year, as he continued to get more reps in coming back from that injury, the play was improved at the end of the year based on where he was at the beginning of the year too. So I see why the Steelers are like, we're gonna wait on whatever Rodgers wants to do here because we think, based on what we saw, he can be that guy who's competent enough to take us to the next level. And I've heard, I think I was watching NFL Network. I forget where I heard this from exactly. I'm sorry, I wish I could credit the original author of this, but saying like certain teams have an infrastructure to be able to absorb certain personalities. And like they're like, hey, maybe it was NFL Network, because they were like, hey, look, the Bulls in the 90s were able to absorb Dennis Rodman because they had enough in their locker room, they had enough strong people around them to be able to absorb the personality of what Dennis Rodman can do. And the Steelers are a team with Tomlin at the helm. They're like, they can absorb it now. It's going to be tested with Metcalf and Pickens, and then you throw in Rodgers. Like, that could get explosive. But I could see the Steelers being like, we trust in our organizational structure to be able to absorb Aaron Rodgers.
So remember when I think it was before they actually made the trade, when it was the Warriors were talking about bringing in Jimmy, and we were like, Jimmy and Draymond, either they're going to be the best friends or they're going to be fighting before we get to May. I feel like it's both with Rodgers. Like, if Rodgers goes to the Steelers, he's going to be best friends with one of them receivers, and the other one's going to want to fight him. I don't know which is which.
It might be the YN on the damn team, bro. Motherfucker want to fight every damn body.
Somebody's going to be upset.
Dwayne added, Rodgers ain't terrible. I'm just not here for the extra mess. Also, it's hard to hate a MF, then have to root for him. That is very fair. It's very hard to put years of animosity away of like, dang, now you on my squad.
Bucks going through that right now.
Who going through that?
The Bucks.
With who?
Our backup.
Who?
Backup what?
First letter begins with a K.
Kuzma?
Oh my God. Never mind. The analogy was there.
Like, I don't sports hate him. I actually hate him.
It's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's the same.
Oh, Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It can be hard.
I mean, he's on my team. I'm not rooting for him, so like I can't relate. So
I'm over here like, well, I hope he is better. He's better off now. Like, which that's a conversation for a different day, because I had this realization when. Never mind. We don't have to get into this right now, but I will say that I do always hope in the human spirit persevering and people being better. I always hope for it. Got to see the proof in the pudding. Like we've talked about, like when Drew Brees had his faux pas some years ago, and then you saw him put the work in of like, hey, I'm spoke out of turn. Here's what I've learned, and here's how I'm applying it. Like I love to see people like come back from it stronger. So
always down for giving a Benny.
We'll see. But we're gonna wrap up here with John Cena here. Listen, Raw coming on at 2 p.m. I think it's at 3 this upcoming week. It was weird, but when I saw the crowd, I said, it's worth it. It is worth it. John Cena finally spoke.
You didn't even deserve that.
Who did? According to him, none of us deserved it.
We ain't deserve shit.
I'm not mad.
You ain't asking how he feel. We ain't asking how his fucking day went. We just wanted to take. And what can you do for me, John?
So like right after he turned, like I came on here, I was like, oh man, what new Cena are we gonna get? Is he gonna have new music? Is he going, is he gonna bring back like the Dr. Thugonomics? Like we were all like kind of fancy booking. Like I feel like the most heelish thing that he could do is keep the same exact presentation. Like that when he said that, like, you know what? You right. Like that was perfect. Like, no, don't change a damn thing, because this is exactly what got you booed for all them years when you're supposed to be a good guy. And it's like, yeah, of course, the people that have been itching for it for 20 years, like now they want to see like that. So like, don't give it to them, and they gonna boo you. I move to do like, that's cinema. Like that's great.
Cinema.
That's a great.
Like, been watching wrestling for a long time, and when things are executed at a high level, it always reminds me, like, this is why I love professional wrestling. And as soon as Cena's music hit and the crowd started, like, the crowd was louder than the music. They outbooed the music, and then you got the "Let's go Cena, Cena," like, and the way that John Cena had the whole crowd in his hands. He called out all the Cena sucks people, and then he said the "Let's go Cena" people are even worse. And I was like, "Tell us how, John. Like, I want to hear." He pointed at the kid in the audience, and like he's, I forget what he called him, like a selfish bastard or something like that. And the kid's just in the audience, like. Like everything about that was perfect. John Cena saying, for the last 15 years, y'all made me the butt of an invisible joke that ain't funny. I laughed so hard when he said that.
Can't see him, and he hates it.
He got everything off his chest. I am here for this storyline. I'm here for how he came out, and like Eric said, I'm not changing nothing. Y'all time is up, as in all you fans, and my time is now. I'm doing this for me. Even when he started the promo, and he's like, "When you're well grounded in life," and the crowd just boo, like everything about that was perfect. And then when they started calling for Cody, and he's like, "Oh, that's your new shiny toy now." It is, like, everything about it, just cinema.
And this is the most interested I've been in the Cody storyline since the Bloodline stopped. Like, I'm told I'm in. And I actually do think that what it seemed, the direction that they seem to be going with Cena, like that's the perfect one to kind of go up against this version of Cody. Like, you don't need somebody that's gonna be cooler than Cody. Like, you need somebody that's gonna be a dork in like an evil villain kind of way, and like the colorfulness versus kind of like the more well-grounded Cody. Like, it's a good juxtaposition. So like, I like the dynamic that they've kind of shown so far. Like, Cody didn't really say much of anything, and he didn't really have to. Like, he was the biggest babyface in the world just because fuck Cena. Like, is the sentiment of the crowd. So I'm interested to see where they go. They have about a month. Yeah, because
it's the WrestleMania is the 20th of April. 20 and 21st.
So yeah, we're a month out. I'm excited to see. Like, we got 2 more weeks with European crowds, which, you know, say what you want for colonialism, but they at least make good wrestling crowds. So, you know, like, I'm here for that environment.
Yeah, they're gonna make this road to WrestleMania really hot because they're gonna give you that crowd reaction, and crowd participation is such a big part in wrestling. Like, we mentioned all the time, the the Rock Hogan match, not a good, like, the match, not great, but the crowd made that match fantastic. Even just last year, Backlash in France, where it was like, this pay-per-view PLE, like, it's all right, but the crowd bumped it up because of just how crazy they were going.
Backlash in Puerto Rico.
Same thing. Yeah.
I wish Ken was here for one of 2 reasons. He confessed a while ago, like, now he's finally invested in CM Punk, and kind of see the lore, stuff like that. But to segue that to this current segment is more so like, I wish, because he missed a lot of Cena's era too. Like, he's seen it, but he didn't. Now you get to kind of see what makes Cena too. So it's one of those things that a part 2. This is what I want for my part-time wrestlers. Like, if you gonna come back, give us this. Rock came back part-time last year, pure cinema. Then he bounced. Yeah. Cena coming back, pure cinema. Even if CM Punk came back and he bounced, it's pure cinema. Edge was here for a little bit, pure cinema. Like, if you gonna bring part-timers back, unlike what they used to do. You bringing Doink the Clown out and shit.
Goldberg for a squash match.
Right, like, no, bring them out and, okay, be here and make that matter. Make it worth it, my boy. Make that shit count. You want free reign? You have these ideas that you want to do? We can make it happen. Let's figure some shit out. But these spots here, if you gonna be here, we got to make it count. So having Cena here temporarily, even if it's a temporary run, part-time run, it's gonna be magical.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, to piggyback on that part, like, it's 2 things. One, with Triple H, like, he didn't build these stars, so like, he's all about, fuck it, let's see where we can go. Like, I think Vince was so, like, this is my star, and this is what this character is, and blah,
My brainchild.
Yeah, like
so they have to get the push.
Go. And like Triple H just said, like he works in a collaborative fashion, so he's like he works with the talent to like it's not just this is what you're gonna do, it's what can we do, like what's next, where are we going with this thing, and like you can see that because like we got Final Boss because he's willing to work with The Rock and let him kind of go where he needs to go. Him and Cena came up with this retirement tour idea together, like. And it seems to be charting a course where it's going. Like, I appreciate, like, first of all, like that's my decision making process is very much a collaborative way, and I think that's the way that you get to the best consensus is hearing every voice in the room, kind of taking the best bits and pieces of it and going forward. But it's just like the Punk is involved in a way that I don't think he ever would have gotten the leeway to do under the previous regime.
Yeah.
And the product is much better for it. Seth Rollins like, I fucking hate the freaking part of my name. Let's get rid of it. And he's not really a face, he's not really a heel, but like we're getting
his vision of the character.
Interesting versions of the character.
Yeah.
I guess the one person that Vince did do that was Roman, where he gave him free creative control, and you see like the bloodline is one of the best things that we've had in wrestling in the last decade. So it's like make it collaborative. Like let's figure this shit out. And like that's what this era of wrestling has been so far.
That's a fact. Shaolin said real quick, I know Cena heel turns a big deal, but that top 5 or top 15 BET list not having R-Truth but having Big E is atrocious. And I really did want to discuss that list this week, but that's a conversation I want to have when all 4 of us are here for the different perspectives on who the top 15 are for Black wrestling. Because I think that it is. You can't have a top 15 Black wrestler list without R-Truth on it. I think that I completely 100% agree with you on that because the longevity that this man has had, he was doing, I forget which promo he had recently or backstage segment. I think might have been when Cena, when the Final Boss set Cody up with the fly backstage and he had like the shrimp and R-Truth was in there eating the shrimp and he was, just being R-Truth. And I was like, whenever R-Truth decides to hang it up, like WWE is going to really miss him because his comedic timing is perfect. It is perfect. Like he's a gem. He truly is a gem. And he might not be like world champion type of guy. Like he's been a career mid-carder for really his
a winning ass
NWA world champion. Like he has had that role before. Like that's
true. That is
R-Truth has like a career that has seen like everything so far, and he's been able to do everything and do it well. Like I wasn't feeling it at first. Like I've definitely come around. Like R-Truth was like one of my favorites because that man is hilarious.
He's a gem for sure.
Even when he was making fun of Shannon Sharp after the Instagram live, even his social media stuff, I just be like, R-Truth is a nut. Like
singing now R&B and shit.
With Cena's heel turn, he's like, I think Cody's wife was like, "We hate Cena now," and he's like, "Let's just hear him out." Like, or like he would say like little stuff on the internet where it's like, you just hilarious. Like,
You said you missed what, the Shannon Sharp thing?
No, I mean shit. He found his niche when he really won the 24/7 title. That's when he really kind of like this era of truth became truth. Like era, like he was doing some shit with that title. Like
before that, because like remember he used to come out like during the Rumble and like think it was the Money in the Bank match, or like he had that run with Carmella where they did the dance break. Like he's been able to reinvent himself a number of times. Like even before you get to 24/7, like which was a Hall of Fame run. Like that's kind of the point where it's like you find one, you're like, oh, this must be where it started, and then you go back and be like, oh, I forgot he did that, and that even predates this, and like Lil Jimmy, like that shit was stupid, but then like it became hilarious because like you got this little kid that only you can see. Like
I'll have to double check, but he might have the most championships among black wrestlers.
I mean, if you count 24/7, like
listen,
won that like $1 million times.
We are going when Ken next week. I'm assuming. Oh wait, you're gonna be gone next week. Dang.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll have this conversation in 2 weeks when we have a full I mean, the conversation is always going to be the
It has to
conversation.
be had. I mean, maybe we'll do something on the side then.
Maybe.
If people can kind of figure out some time, maybe we do a conversation.
But the conversation will be had more in depth when we have all 4 of us here, because I mean, we Black wrestling fans. Like, this is respect to the people.
The greats.
Yeah. So we'll come back to that for sure. A couple of things in the quick hits before we get out of here. Just a little random sport fact of the week. We used to do this to open the show before we started playing the game needs a name. But, when we go virtual, we don't tend to play the game needs a name. But March 18th, 1995, I'm back. Y'all already know what that means. That was Jordan announcing the retirement was over. He was coming back. And I believe today, the 19th of March, was the first game back after his announcement. When the 4-5 came out.
When I come back like Jordan wearing the 4-5, it ain't to play games with you. Probably maim you if I know you're gonna blow you to smithereens.
Woo, boy, don't get me started on Black Album Jay-Z. That I loved the Black Album so much that me and my guy, I won't say which one of my friends because we're still friends now, and I don't know if he wants me to embarrass him here. We created a Black Planet page solely for Jay-Z and the Black Album. I can't remember the name of the Black Planet page, but it was all black, and it was just a Black Planet page to be like, Jay-Z is great and y'all need to respect him. And I did all the coding on it. At the end it faded into black, and I thought that was so tight because I was like, that's the name of fade to black. That's the concert. So yeah, don't get me started on Jay. So one last thing here before we get out of here. March Madness is kicking off. I just wanted to ask y'all, do y'all have somebody that you have a rooting interest in, throughout March Madness this year? Is there a particular team that you are personally invested in here come this March?
Wisconsin teams.
You said what, E?
I said whoever that team that you were just hinting at plays in the first round, that's one we're rooting for.
Yeah, let's go Marquette.
And Wisconsin.
No. Their opponents.
Oh, damn. That's hate.
Yeah.
I see. I'm putting cases on all of you.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Wisconsin team. So Marquette, go Badgers. You know how I go.
Yeah.
Ain't it? I ain't in it.
It's been a while.
On the women's side, do y'all have is y'all sitting here like you want USC, you want to see Page buckets, and you who y'all got any
man?
I'm looking more forward to their brackets than the men's side.
Well, they had the stars. Like, people don't play long enough in the men's game to develop stars, and even the stars that they have are gonna be gone in like a month. So, Juju. I'm looking forward to playing because they're here, right? USC
in Milwaukee, I think so.
I always root for Dawn Staley. Love USC. The other USC. And I'm interested to see what UConn can do.
Yeah.
Hopefully Page finally gets a run. Well, a run to the finals.
It'll be fine. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Marcus, leaving us with some positivity as we get out of here. As always, love you guys. Sorry I don't have any input, but Ken, for every storm, there is a rainbow. Yeah, as mentioned, make sure y'all send that positive energy to Ken and his family. And as we wrap up here, just going to say, if you are not yet following us on our socials, make sure you do that at Technical File. TECKNICALFOUL on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. Technical File Podcast on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you to everyone who stopped through for the YouTube live stream of this week's episode. If you have not yet liked the video, make sure you do that before you head on out. And we're going to wrap up the show for this week. Appreciate y'all for supporting us, even if it's a day late. Shells added gang, still Bucks and 6, always Bucks and 6. Always. If you want to follow me on social media, you can catch me.
Wait a minute.
On Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, PSN. If you send me a PSN invite, at least be like, hey, I listened to you on X podcast. Just let me know who you are in some way. Just don't just send it. But it's at Camille Monet, CamilleMonae.
At fuck Elon. So at the Eric J2 on Blue Sky.
Yep. Ken's not here, but he is. Oh God, everyday _ gentleman. Everywhere.
Just check out mine.
I think it's everywhere except for Twitter. I think Twitter he's K Harris 216, but everywhere else he is under everyday _ gentleman.
Correct. And it's your boy TIMKINZ, the number 3, aka Ask Ketchum, aka Mr. Give It To Me. Y'all have a good one. You hear?
Y'all take care now.
Where the fans at? That's my shit. Where them fans?
You know how to do that dance yet?
What?
I know you do.
No, Sam do.
See, I told her I want to have a day where we learn all these lines. I'm learning that Tamina line dance this year. Dang it. I'm gonna be out here this summer doing
Don't
that.
get dizzy.
I'm gonna be mad
Spinning
dizzy
and
to learn that, but I'm gonna learn that mug. It's been too long. It's 2 people who can do that dance besides me. So
I can't do it either.
Hit him hard, let's go. That TECK, run it back like where's my replay? Got it all in the mix, no DJs. Said it's hard in the game like